are logged and recorded and may be listened to by a member of prison staff. If you do not wish to accept this call, please hang up now.
Hello, Genius. Hello, Genius.
Hey, American, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. I've been awaiting your call.
Oh, right.
Well, things are fine here. It's cooled off. We get a little rain. It's a beautiful time of the year here now, really. It got a little hot. We had more heat than usual, but it's okay now.
Oh, right. Yeah, pretty much the same here. Now it's back to down to about 23, 24
Yeah,
degrees
it's
or
beautiful,
like
beautiful now. And I'm working on my website. You know, I told you I started a new political party, the Senior Party, and I'm creating a website for it now. And I'm going nuts because I haven't programmed a website in 10 years, so I had to learn HTML all over again. But I'm getting it, and I'm putting up a real nice site, you know. And
Cool.
Yeah, I think the world needs a senior party because seniors have no representation to speak of in government, you know.
Well, not really. And when you think about it, I mean, the President of the United States, well, he's an OAP anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's in his 70s, yeah?
Yeah, well, so that keeps me busy, and it'll about another week I'll have the site up online, and I'll try to send you some pictures of it and so on. But now we'll see what people say. If people like it, I'll get money. I'll get people signing up. If not, it was an interesting exercise.
Because don't forget, you see, 2 weeks this Monday.
Yeah.
I'm 60.
Wow. What date?
Yeah. 2 weeks on Monday.
What's that?
8th of August.
Oh, man. Hey.
Well, you should know my birth date now.
Yeah, now I got it. Well, no, I'm no good at that kind of thing. But most parts of my brain's still working well, but things like faces and memories and dates, I'm getting pretty bad, you know.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. What's your opinion on the heat wave? Because everyone over here and on the TV, it was just saturated. It's global warming. It's the end of the world, and it's give it a rest.
Yeah, well, apparently they were exaggerating terrifically the importance of global warming. But I just read a pretty convincing article today by a mathematician who shows that based on the amount of sunlight hitting the Earth and the way it's dealt with, we are getting warmer, and there's no doubt about it.
I don't deny that, but I mean, see, for me, I've always worked on the theory that the current situation, the Earth is cyclic.
Yeah.
So what we're getting now, we've had before.
Yeah.
And we're likely to get again, and apart from anything else, is up until the late 19th century, there were no records kept anyway.
Well, that's true, but they've now done these digs in Greenland, and they've gone down through the ice, and they've got a mile-thick ice there, and they've got a beautiful history of what's going on. And
I don't dispute all that. Truly, I don't dispute this. But at the end of the day, it's like, hang on. We had like flying fucking lizards for like a billion, zillion years and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like, hang on, well, for flying lizards, what do you think the temperature was like then?
Yeah, no, we know we've been there before, and we've had catastrophic wipeouts they can find in the Greenland record.
Yeah, exactly.
Of asteroids hitting the Earth, and boom.
Exactly.
Around 12,000 years ago, it literally wiped out terrible results. But this guy today, he said, if the temperature goes up 4 degrees centigrade, 90% of the places people live will be unlivable, you know, and that's the problem. But that's over centuries.
When's he talking about this?
Well, no one knows, but he says it's inevitable that we're on a warming cycle.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
It doesn't matter what human beings do, it's going to get warmer. But if it goes up 4 degrees centigrade, then we're at 6 degrees Fahrenheit, then we're in big trouble. And but that's not in our lifetime, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, we're talking about, say, I would have said, I don't know, 400 years from now, maybe?
Well, yeah, who knows? But anyway, we can talk about it, but it's very hard to know what's going to happen in the future, right? That's the question.
Well,
it's getting warmer, though, no doubt about it. Right?
Well, shit on a stick, what the hell?
Yeah. And I had a Italian girl come yesterday, look at the room. I'll be back tomorrow with money, and she didn't even show up. People are so fucking flaky, I'll tell you. Right?
That's the world all over, man.
Yeah,
I've had that all my life. All my life, I've been one of the things I always maintain is if I make an appointment, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there up to an hour early.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've made appointments with people for this, for that, have they ever turned up? No, because they're arseholes.
Yeah, no, it's really so. It's really sad. And but you know, that I'm used to it by now. I've been renting out rooms most of my life, and
no, you're not used to it. You never get used to it. You always get pissed. Every time it happens, you get pissed off. You think, fucking wankers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. How true, Jeremy. You got your finger on the pulse of life. I think you understand the world better than most people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm not. It's not that I'm pessimistic. I'm realistic, and I would say that like about 98% of planet Earth are a complete waste of time.
Well, also, you know, I just wrote a thing and put it out. We now have 3 times as many COVID cases as a year ago, which means the so-called vaccines do not work, period. Nobody says it. Nobody can draw the conclusion that the fucking thing doesn't work. Everybody's been hypnotized. It's really...
You're right. You either have immunity in the first place or you don't.
Yeah.
And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I do.
No,
the
jabs give no immunity. We have the proof now because COVID is bigger than ever after they injected 5 billion people with their fucking cocktail, and it didn't do any good at all. But does anyone talk about that and say, let's stop it? No, nothing.
No.
Yeah, they've all had their heads...
I really hate to say this, but you know, like the war in Ukraine, we've known for years that this was going to happen. Everybody in NATO knew this was going to happen. It's just, the only thing new is the politicians, and we've been telling the politicians we're going to get a war in Ukraine. Prepare for it. And they didn't. Did they make any preparations for it? Of course they didn't. Didn't make any preparations whatsoever.
Everyone knows now politicians have one goal: to pad their own nests.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all that interests them.
And because at the moment we're like electing a new prime minister for the remainder of the Tories' term in office, and it looks like it will be Liz Truss. And Liz Truss, don't forget, Liz Truss is the former foreign secretary, the one who said, "Oh yeah, you can go to Ukraine and you can fight as a mercenary." Yeah. But you know, kids went, and now they're under the death sentence. And has she said anything about that? She hasn't said a fucking word.
No, of course.
Exactly. Of course, she don't say anything about it at all. And but I mean, the whole thing about the Ukraine situation is like, oh come on, what the Russians were going to leave them alone? Of course, they fucking weren't going to leave them alone. It's the biggest wheat belt in the whole area. They've got the iron there, plus they've got fuel. Yeah, we want it back. That's our country in the first place, is what they'll say. And the problem at the moment is in all of the docks, all of the shipping areas of the Ukraine. Yeah, they've got wheat being stockpiled, and they can't get it out because the Russian Navy is blockading the Baltic ports. So and they're trying to work a deal that they can get the Ukrainian grain. And the reason that they keep saying the reason we want the Ukrainian grain because we want to help the world because there is a grain crisis and a food crisis in all the poor countries. No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with the food crisis because it doesn't exist.
Well, also Ukraine is only about 3% of the world wheat crop, even though
it's 12.5%, I think.
12.5? Okay.
Is it? No, it's not more than half. It's 12.5%. With 12.5%, it's an eighth of the world's crop. Yeah. No, the reason they want the grain is, how do you think they're going to pay for all the munitions? They want the grain because Zelensky signed a deal that because they don't have Ukraine doesn't have any money. End of story. Flat. It's got no money. But the one thing it does have, the 3 things it has, is oil, iron, and wheat. And wheat is paying for the munitions. So you've got all the brokers all over Europe going, we want our money, because, you know, the munitions don't come for free. You have to pay for them.
Very good point.
And so how do you pay for munitions? You pay for it in wheat. And they can't get the wheat out because the Russians won't let it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So all this shit about that we're trying to broker a deal to help the poor people is a load of shit. The people who are trying to broker this deal don't give a fuck about poor people. Nobody gives a fuck about poor people. You're poor. You're no fucking good to us. Now fuck off. We want that wheat because we've been fucking sending you rockets. It's wheat for rockets. End of story.
Yeah, I didn't know that the weapons suppliers wanted money back.
Yeah,
now.
Of course they do. Because and I hate to put it on the nitty gritty. The weapons supplier, well, at the end of the day, that's the United States Armed Forces.
Yeah. That's
because where are the weapons coming? Where's 85% of the weapon systems coming? They're coming from the States.
Yeah.
That's the big red. That's where they always come from. And at the end of the day, America was like with us in the Second World War. It was called Lend-Lease. Yeah, you can have all our antiquated destroyers and everything. By the way, you have to pay us. Oh yeah, you have to pay us with interest. It took us about 1996 to pay back the interest.
No kidding.
Yeah, it went on for years and years. And the Americans are notorious for this. It's like, you want guns from us, you got to buy them.
Well, you really know the situation.
Come on, Lucky. Nobody gives away guns for free. Yeah. Nobody gives away anything for free. If you want anything, and you got to pay for it. And the Americans are like the Chinese. One thing Americans and Chinese either get on really well or they hate each other. Yeah, that's because they're exactly the same. And the Chinese will do exactly the same. They'll go like, as in Hong Kong, yeah, you can have our land, you can have it for 99 years, you can have it for 1,000,000 years, but you've got to pay us at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's Confucius all the way.
Wow. Well, you sure got an eye on politics. How do you learn all this stuff? You don't have the internet there. Do you read newspapers or what?
No, I had the right schooling, Lucky.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
When I was doing in my 20s, I was at a really high-level university in Edinburgh.
I didn't know you went to school in Edinburgh.
Yeah. My family are Highlander. My family are Scots, but and my family will live. And my father was a big-time military up there as well. And I went and I did economics and politics.
I see. Well, you're quite a man, Jeremy. Not just a great artist, but also quite a thinker.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, I know what I'm talking about. You know, and I really do. And like, and people are going at the moment. There's this big thing about the Tory party and blah 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 blah. Yeah. It doesn't really make it. It's like America. It's like, I'll vote Republican or It doesn't really make any difference whether the Republicans or the Democrats get in. It makes absolutely no difference at the end of the day.
All they're interested in, I don't know if you know this, but in America, government salaries are about 50% higher than private salaries now.
Yes, of course.
And Fauci, you know that asshole, he gets more retirement every year than the President of the United States salary.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, at the end of the day...
Can you imagine a retirement pay from the government of a couple $100,000 a year?
Yeah, exactly. And you see, it doesn't... Same over here. The two primaries are Tory or Labour. It doesn't make any difference whether they're... What the Tories are saying at the moment is, we'll give you tax cuts. We've got inflation soaring through, but we'll give you tax cuts. Yeah, what a load of shit. Tax cuts. Yeah. That's just to get people on board. Cool. Yeah, we'll vote for them. They're getting a cut our tax. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And all it is at the end is is social spending, military spending, health spending, education spending, defense spending, and that's about it, really. And it doesn't make any difference. Either you're interested in helping the country, or you're interested in lining your own pockets. Boris Johnson was telling everyone not to have a party, buckle down, get your jab and everything. But I'm the politician, I'm the Prime Minister, I'll have a little drink of poo on the side. Yeah, nice one, Boris. You've been kicked out for that.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson and his little illegal parties who turned down his ring. You didn't think we'd find out, did you, Boris? No, you can't get away with that sort of stuff anymore. Because in the old days, you could get away with it. Now, all someone has to do is take a photograph on a telephone and go, Boris.
The portable phone has certainly made a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely, big time. Because if you go back like 30 years, nobody had this. If you had a portable telephone, it was a fucking brick. It was it was a D-Day fucking brick. Not anymore. Yeah. Not anymore. Now you can put a tiny little telephone in your pocket. I remember in the 1980s going home to see my my father, my mother, and like on his work desk there was this little sort of black thing, and I said, "What's this, Dad?" He said, and he picked it up and he put it in his pocket, and he said, "This is technology that you haven't got out in the civilian world. You won't get this for at least another 25 years."
No kidding.
And what he showed me was a mobile telephone.
I'll be damned.
Okay, this is in the mid-'80s. He showed me a mobile telephone made by Sony, the size of my thumb.
How the size of your thumb? Holy shit.
He said it was only for high-ranking military personnel in the West.
Oh.
And there was only about sort of like 1,000 made. So it was only top-ranking generals.
Well, your dad was really connected, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, big time, big time. I mean, my old man used to fly to... My old man was forever flying between the Pentagon and Brussels.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Plus, after he retired, he became the Secretary General for the European Space Federation.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so he was the head. He was the head of the equivalent of NASA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he did. Have you ever heard of Project Adrian?
No.
See, you wouldn't. You want to look it up on the internet. Look up in connection with NASA, and look up the ESF, the European Space Federation. Look up Project Adrian. Okay.
Project what?
Project Adrian.
ADRAM?
I think it's either Adrian or Ariane, one of the two.
Okay, Ariane. Oh, Project Ariane. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, this is, I don't know, all kinds of shit up there and everything, but it's basically a military payload that pays for the civilian payload. So all the satellites up there to do with NASA and the European Space Station, the International Space Station, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, aren't we wonderful? Yeah, they all have a hidden payload, which is military.
Oh, yeah.
So every satellite up there, Russia does the same and China does the same. They are all linked. You can't put a satellite up there, including Sky, it doesn't matter who you are, you cannot put a satellite up there without having some kind of military function.
Oh,
Otherwise,
really?
they just say no.
Well, what about Musk just shot up, I don't know, 1,000 little satellites?
Yes, exactly.
Those have the military thing in them too?
Yeah, exactly. If a load of satellites get shut down up there, that's because the military payload just overrides them and says shut down, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because the only way you can get satellite up there is to have a military upgrade.
I see. Well, they say that he's really fucked up the visibility of the moon and things like that. He's got so much shit up there now. And the astronomers are complaining.
Yeah, but the Americans are just as bad. Putin, all this and that. Yeah, the Americans and the Chinese as well. Put it all together, they're all as bad as each other.
Well, they're all just trying to get rich. That's all people do now. They all just want to get richer. Not rich, but richer. They're all rich.
Yeah. And it was the same in the Roman times. It was the same in Byzantium. It was the same in Greek times. Makes absolutely no difference at the time. And it was the same when cavemen were around. It's like, I want more. I'm better. I'm hot. Waste of time. All right, man. Anything else? Because I'll sign off in a minute.
I'm just delighted to hear from you, and I'm glad you're in good health, and I love talking to you. Thanks for the call.
All right, okay, man.